Good day, viewers. Welcome to today's teaching. Today we'll be looking at surds. Remember that we have a perfect square root in mathematics. We have a perfect square root. A perfect square root, like that of 9, is equal to what? 3. Then we have imperfect square roots. Imperfect, for example, when we have root 2, root 5, root 3. All these ones, we call them what? Surds. We call them surds. All these imperfect square root, or yes, we call them surds. While perfect root is the root of 9, which is equal to what? 3. Or we can also call them radicals in mathematics. Radicals. Then surds, there are laws to obey in solving problems on surds. Laws of surds. So I want us to carefully look at the laws. Number 1, when we have root A multiplied by root B, it can be written as root A times B. Square root of A times B. Square root of A times B. For example, when we have root 2 multiplied by root 3, that will give us root 2 times what? 3. And that will give us root 6. Then that is for this. Then number 2, another law is when we have the root, square root, the same square root, like root x multiplied by root x, multiplication 1, root x times root x will give us x, because the square root will go. For example, when we have root 2 multiplied by root 2, that will give us what? Root 4. And what is root 4? Root 4 is equal to 2. So we take 2. One of them, that means that root 2 times root 2 is equal to 2. So we also have the division side, root number 3, when we have the square root of m over n is the same thing as the square root of m divided by the square root of n. Example here, e.g., when we have the square root of 36 over 5, for example, or over 6, whichever form, over 6, can also be the square root of 36 divided by the square root of 6. So they mean the same thing. Then additional laws of surd is when we have the one we call rational laws. When we have rational surds, for example, right, that is rationalization of surds. So additional law or rule to this is that, for example, when we have a over the square root of b, you rationalize. What do I mean by this? That means that a, we are going to have a over the square root of b multiplied by the square root of the root of b, everything over what? Multiplied both sides by the square root of b. So you rationalize. Then additional one to rationalization of surd is the conjugate surd. It's what we call conjugate surd. For example, when we have a plus b square root of c is conjugate to a minus b plus the root of what? C. Now, what do I mean by this? For example, when we have 2 plus 3 root 2 divided by 2 minus 5 root 3. How do we rationalize this? This one is, you look for the conjugate to this one. And what is the conjugate? If it is negative here, the conjugate becomes positive, multiplied by 2 plus 5 root 3 over 2 plus 5 root 3. Now we are going to look, let's carefully look at the laws of sorts. Look at the laws. Let's look at the laws. Then we are going to carefully look at solve some problems using the laws of sorts, the laws of the rationalization of sorts, and the conjugate sorts. Let's take some examples. The first question is, simplify the following. A, the root of 20 plus the root of 45. Then 2 over root 3. Then the next question is, given that 2 minus root 2 over 3 minus 2 root 2 is equal to n plus n square root of 2. Find the value of m and n. Find the value of m and n. Solutions. A, we have the square root of 20 plus the square root of 45. We are going to break this down in their roots. So that means we are going to have this as 4 times 5. That is the square root of 20 plus the square root of 45. Going by that same, let's maintain that our surd 5. So that means we are going to have 9 times 5. 9 multiplied by 5 will give us 45. So we are going to have it as square root of 4 multiplied by the square root of 5 plus the square root of 9 multiplied by the square root of 5. The square root of 4 is a perfect square. It's 2. 2 multiplied by root 5 plus the square root of 9 is 3. And that is we multiply by 5. So that means we are going to have 2 root 5 plus 3 root 5. So that means we are going to have our final answer will be 2 plus 3 root 5. 2 plus 3 root 5. That will give us 5 root 5. 5 root 5. 5 root 5. The next question, B. We are to simplify. This one is the rationalization of surd. We have to rationalize this surd. And how do we do it? We multiply by the denominator. And we multiply both the numerator by the denominator. So we are going to have 2 multiplied by root 3 will give us 2 root 3 over, according to the law, one of the laws that root 3 times root 3. You remember the other time when we have root s times root s gives us x. So root 3 times root 3 will give us root 9. And what is the square root of 9? Is 3. That is the final answer. So the last question there, the last question is, given that 2 minus root 2 over 3 minus 2 root 2. This one is conjugate surd. We rationalize, but it is conjugate surd. We multiply this minus, we change to positive. That will be 3 plus 2 root 2 over 3 plus 2 root 2. So that means we are going to have 2 multiplied by 3 will give us 6. That same 2 multiplied by 2 root 2. 2 root 2. This one is positive. 2 times 2, that will be 4 root 2. 4 root 2. Minus, we are working, we must not neglect this negative sign. Minus root 2 times 3 will give us minus 3 root 2. Minus root 2 times 2 root 2. Minus times plus will give us minus. Root 2 times 2 root 2. This one will give us 4. Because when we say root 2 times root 2 will give us 2. 2 times 2 will give us 4. everything over 3 multiplied by 3 will give us 9. 3 times 2 root 2, addition sign. Let's remember to put addition sign. That will be 6 root 2. 6 root 2. So we come to this, minus 2. This one is negative, this one is positive. It will be minus. This one will give us 6 root 2. So minus 2 root 2 plus 2 root 2. Minus 2 times this will also give us a minus. 2 times 2 will give us 4. Root 2 times root 2 will give us 2. Root 2 times root 2 will give us 2. 2 times 4 will give us 8. So we are going to have 6. 6 minus, let's work out the times that are related. 6 minus 4 will give us 2 here. Plus 4 minus 3 root 2. That means we are left with what? Plus root 2. Plus root, that's 1. There is an invisible 1 here. Everything over, plus 6 root 2, these 2 will go. Give us 0. We are left with 9 minus 8. And what is 9 minus 8? We have it as 1. Our answer is equal to 2 plus root 2. Now, our n, because the examiner said, find the values of m and n. M is equal to 2 and n is equal to 1. So, thank you very much for taking your time to listen. So, the next is your assignment, and I want you to do the assignment. In our next class, I'm going to provide solutions to the questions given. Thank you very much.